Is the network service of the NTA.
Hello and a very warm welcome to you wherever you may be. My name is Bayo Adewusi. Education is the balm that not only soothes but transforms lives and opens new vistas. It's been said time and again that if you think education is expensive, try ignorance. As much as Nigeria is trying in the area of education, United Nations statistics show that there are more children that should be in school that are out of school compared anywhere else in the world, compared to anywhere else in the world. Fast forward to university education in Nigeria and the pros and cons and the claims that university education is going downhill. Somewhere in Nigeria there is a development university known as the American University of Nigeria, founded 10 years ago and situated in Yola, Adamawa State. The university is playing a novel role not only in education but in community development, as my guest on the program will explain later. You'll meet my guest if you don't go away. My guest is a trailblazer of sorts. She earned her doctorate in international political economy from the University of Maryland. Fast forward again, today she is president of the American University of Nigeria. Please welcome Professor Margee Ensign to One and One. Professor Ensign, welcome to One and One.
Thank you for having me.
You're the president of the American University in Nigeria.
Yes.
What is so unique about the American University of Nigeria?
Well, there are several things that are unique about AUN, as we call it. As you said in your introductory remarks, we're trying to be a different type of university in the 21st century. One thing we're doing is using technology in very innovative ways. We use e-books almost exclusively, and that allows our students and our faculty and staff, and actually our community, to have access to the world's knowledge. So that's one way that we're different. But perhaps what defines us, as you said, we're a development university. Nigeria, as you pointed out, is growing rapidly. It has more young children out of school than any country in the world. So what does a university have to do with that? We believe we're training the future leaders of Nigeria, of Rwanda, of South Africa, of all of our students who are with us. We firmly believe they must have the knowledge and the skills and the experiences to know how to solve the challenges of the 21st century. All of our AUN students are working on literacy projects, on training young people and older people how to access information technology. And most recently, with the challenges in the Northeast, and many internally displaced people coming to Yola because it's a peaceful place, our students and our faculty are out there feeding over 250,000 internally displaced people.
Okay, let's backtrack a little. Before we go into all your achievements and what you're doing,
yes,
and what you're doing differently as a university, the university came into being 10 years ago.
Yes.
On what platform? Is this an American government initiative?
No, it's not an American government initiative. It was actually founded by His Excellency Atiku Abubakar, who had experience with American teachers, American Peace Corps teachers, who were here in Nigeria in the 60s. And as you may know, he was orphaned pretty young and sent away to Yola from Jada, where he had 4 Peace Corps teachers who changed his life quite fundamentally. And as he said, they taught him a different way of thinking and learning. Fast forward 40 years, and he decided it was time to start an American-style university in Nigeria. So no, we're not funded by the U.S. government, though recently we've received some grants from the U.S. Agency for International Development. But the point is to have a different pedagogy, a different way of thinking and learning in Nigeria. AUN is part of an association of American-style universities around the world, from AU Paris to AU Rome to AU Iraq, where a colleague is running it. But the only other American university who is part of that association on this big continent is AU Cairo. So Nigerians should be proud that the American University of Nigeria is the only university of its type in sub-Saharan Africa.
But what special benefits does being a member of this association confer on both the university and the
Yes.
students who attend the university?
Our students are allowed to study abroad at any of those universities. We've just signed an agreement. A Nigerian student can come to AUN, and they may want to really be studying in another university also. They can spend a semester abroad at any of those universities. AUN also has agreements with Oxford, with universities in the United States. So being a part...
With some of the Ivy League universities?
Yes, absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. So being a part of that association, we share best practices. Sometimes we share faculty, we share research. So it's an important association.
Okay, as a parent, let me look at it from the perspective of a parent. I'm sitting here as a parent.
Yes.
My son or daughter has gone through high school, and I want them to have a benefit of the university of a university education. So I sit here and I'm thinking they've been admitted to the University of Maryland or gained admission into UCLA. Why would I choose to send, apart from the financial considerations?
Yes.
Why would I choose to send my kid, or why would my friends choose to send their kids to American University of Nigeria, AUN, as opposed to these other universities where you would have greater, if nothing else, greater exposure?
I'm not sure you would have greater exposure. We have faculty and staff from 35 countries at AUN. So our students are exposed to the best and brightest faculty from around the world, whether it's from the United States, from Europe, from Nigeria, from Colombia, from China. So what a great international experience. Secondly, as I said, AUN students can leave for a semester. The best students can leave for a year. We're the only university on the continent that has an exchange with Oxford. The best students are allowed to spend a semester at Oxford. So I think you get the best of both. Nigerian students graduate from high school or secondary school quite young compared to other countries that I'm familiar with. I'm a parent.
Why would you think that is so?
I'm not sure why some of the secondary students are 15 or 16. I don't know if they've been fast-tracked. I do know they're very young. I'm a parent. I'm not sure I would have sent my 15 or 16-year-old daughter to another country. I think it's important as Nigerian parents look at higher education to say, first, where's the best education in the world where I can send my children? And secondly, can I visit them? Do I have the resources to spend time with them? And third, as you and I were discussing, who you go to school with matters. We are grooming, we believe, the future leaders not only of Nigeria, but of this continent. And I would love to have my child be a part of that cohort. And the cost is important.
Yeah, we're just going to come to
Yes.
the cost. What does it cost?
So
Does it cost an arm and a leg to send your kid?
You know, I think
to AUN?
I think that's a perception in Nigeria. I'm always asked that question. You are a school for the elite. We're really not. We now cost less than most private secondary schools in your country. So our tuition and room and board is 1/5 of an American private education at the Ivy Leagues in the United States. So it's pretty amazing. A Nigerian student can get the best education comparable to Columbia, Yale, American University at 1/5 the cost, and they're home. And so it's a pretty remarkable education right here in Nigeria.
Yeah, but when you talk about AUN, the American University here in Nigeria,
Yes.
it's situated in the northeast of Nigeria.
Yes.
An area that is experiencing some security challenges right now. And you are talking glowingly of this university and the faculty and the students, about 1,500 population
Yes.
that are doing very well and impacting positively on the environment. How can this be achieved under this kind of strain?
That's a very good question, but it is important for your viewers to understand Yola has always been a safe and secure place. It's a place comprised about half Christian, half Muslim, a long history of peace in that region. And I think the university's played an important role in making sure Yola has stayed peaceful. 3 years ago, the then chairman of the board, Ahmed Joda, and I reached out to the community, and we put together something called the Adamawa Peace Initiative. It's all the Christian leaders, all the Muslim leaders, community leaders, heads of NGO. And we decided then that we would try to make sure vulnerable children in our community were a part of education, were a part of training. With the AUN and the API together have trained over 15,000 youth. So long before the problem started, we were making sure our community, the youth in our community, had access to education, were being trained with some employable skills, and had hope. Fast forward 3 years, and you're absolutely right. Borno, Yobe, Northern Adamawa are experiencing great pain and suffering, and have been for a while. And we've been trying to raise the alarm for over a year about what's been happening. What we're experiencing...
I'm sorry to interrupt you,
Yes.
Professor Ensign. Before we move a lot farther, there's a very important question that crossed my mind. How is it possible, or what makes it possible for a student to benefit from the kind of education you get at the AUN for a fifth of what it would cost you to attend other comparable universities worldwide?
That's a great question. It goes back to the unparalleled generosity of the man who founded us, Atiku Abubakar, who pays the gap between what I charge our students, and about 18% are on scholarships. It's important to note.
What percent?
About 18%.
1/8.
1/8.
Okay.
So he pays the gap, or the difference, between what we bring in tuition and fees and what we pay out in operating. Because those faculty and staff from 35 countries make a salary at an international pay scale. And that's critically important because we're bringing in the best faculty and staff from around the world. So that's why that model works, because of his generosity. And he's committed to do that for as long as is necessary.
In other words, it is possible to have this happen because of one individual. Everything is hinged on that individual. Or so much, not everything, so much is hinged on that individual. Are you envisaging a situation, I mean, nobody lasts forever, nobody lives forever. Either he passes on, or something, God forbid, something untoward happens. What would then happen to the model that you have created out of this individual's generosity?
As I understand it,
Yes.
in his great generosity, he's made provisions for continuing to support AUN forever. But we also want to grow larger so that we're bringing in more income. We've recently established additional graduate programs, a PhD in business administration. We're moving to establish others. We've applied for law. So as the university grows in students, I'm hopeful that what he contributes, that he can reduce that. But right now, there's no one I've met around the world more committed to education for all than Atiku Abubakar.
When you say education for all, I have it on good authority that you probably have more students from the southern part of Nigeria than from the north. Is that correct?
That's correct for our January class. So AUN enters the class in twice a year, like an American-style university, and much to our great pleasure, this January, with the challenges you just mentioned, we had more coming from the south. I think it's because people in Nigeria are beginning to realize there's something happening in Yola. And if you want not only a world-class education, but you want your children to be trained as problem solvers, to know what the challenges are, and to graduate not just with great writing ability, not just with great knowledge, but with leadership abilities. And that's what we're trying to do out in Yola.
Yeah, but you're talking about a total of 1,500 students. Isolated in a place. Some people think the education is elitist. You say it isn't,
Yes.
because it offers you the opportunity to interact with